I'm Lenny Bruce, and to use a phrase from the recent past, I'm fair and balanced politically. For real. Absolutely. Lenny Bruce does not necessarily represent the opinions of the owners of this medium or the writers. The writers of this podcast may include John Fugelsang, Len Rideout, or Josh Hawley. Excuse the inferior Logitech microphone I'm using today. So what's going on? Assault weapons. On January 10th, 2023, Illinois Governor Pritzker signed a bill that bans the manufacture, sale, and distribution of assault-style weapons. Before 2023, there were only 8 states that banned assault weapons. Clearly, this is not what the country wants, as the rest of the states, a supermajority, have not gone to this extreme and have no plans to do so. Of course, there are too many mass shootings in America, and we are working hard at finding a solution. It could be in concentrating on the mental health crisis. Seems to me that in the past there were far more ways to move those with mental challenges into institutions where they would no longer be a danger to themselves or others. Maybe if we do this again, there will be overreach. Far too many will be locked up, and far too many won't be able to find a job after being labeled a, quote, mental case. But isn't that better than having, quote, crazies with guns roaming our streets? We need to do something to bring the number of mass shootings down to the level that the rest of the West enjoys. It's crazy that we lead the world in this category. American exceptionalism for sure. Classified documents. With respect to presidents, vice presidents, legislators, cabinet members, jurists, federal court clerks, really anyone in government, holding on to documents, especially classified documents, there does need to be accountability. Many of these documents need to be permanently stored in the National Archives. So yes, mistakes were made by both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. As time goes on, those in the judiciary and on Capitol Hill will be found with documents that should have been turned back in. None of this should be excused behavior. Our federal government is set up to be a transparent institution, and any time there is a cover-up or withholding of facts, the parties involved look bad. And yes, an investigation should be conducted to figure out why the infraction occurred. Now, in my 21 years in federal courts IT departments, 4.5 years as a director, we had access to sealed cases, sealed documents, and sealed docket entries in cases before the court. That's a different animal than classified documents, but if those sealed documents in, say, organized crime cases in Boston were revealed, lives could have been put at risk. Ukraine. The U.S. is supporting Ukraine in their resistance to Russian aggression. The GOP is, possibly rightly so, questioning how long the U.S. economy should be under the strain of funding an overseas war that doesn't directly affect us. Certainly, Russia is at fault in this conflict that started in 2022. They have been bombing civilians in violation of the Geneva Convention. But Ukraine is not a part of NATO. NATO invited Finland and Sweden to join in July 2022, and Ukraine applied for NATO membership that September, but as of today, they are not members. Should the U.S. be training Ukrainian fighters inside the U.S.? Some will argue the 2023 training was necessary because it was for the use of the highly complex defensive Patriot missile systems. Ukrainian President Zelensky has had an up-and-down time of it with U.S. presidents of late. Is he willing to play ball with us, as we have needs as well that Zelensky can help with? Certainly under Donald Trump, he sat on his hands most of the time. If Poland or any NATO power were to be directly attacked during this conflict, the U.S. and NATO should certainly spring into action. Otherwise, what is the use of the NATO agreement? Should Putin be held to account internationally for what the left are calling war crimes? That is very much open for debate, given our own history during international conflicts. I'm Lenny Bruce, and to use a phrase from the recent past, I'm fair and balanced politically. For real. Absolutely. Lenny Bruce does not necessarily represent the opinions of the owners of this medium or the writers. The writers of this podcast may include John Fugelsang, Len Rideout, or Josh Hawley. You could have been anywhere else during this podcast, but you chose to be with me, and I thank you.